Like to call the October 1st study session to order. Begin with a roll call vote.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Bear,
Present.
Commissioner Walls, Commissioner Kennedy,
Present.
Commissioner Duckham, Commissioner Pileski, Commissioner Willis,
Here.
Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Snell, Commissioner Snell,
Here.
Chairman Shotwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Arrived at the first opportunity for public comment. Guidelines, each individual will state their name, have 3 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of study session September 3rd, 2024.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion and support. Any questions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Drain Commissioner Annual Report.
Oh, actually, we're at.
I'm sorry. JDL Millage Presentation, Jackson District Library. You are welcome to join us.
Good morning. My name is Liz Breed, and I am the director of the Jackson District Library.
And I'm Rachel Fenningsdorf. I'm the Assistant Director of Jackson District Library.
So thank you very much for your time this morning. We have a fairly short presentation, and we're here today to tell you about our operating millage. And I know we've seen some of you out and about as we've been visiting different townships. So some of you may have heard some of this before, but we appreciate your time this morning. So we are up for a millage renewal. It will be on the ballot November 5th. And this is a renewal of our current rate. So our current rate is 1.7411 mils, and we are asking for that for 8 years. So it's really important to us, and it's also really important to the library board that we not ask residents for an increase. And we feel that we've planned well and we've had good stewardship of our funds since our last millage, which was in 2016. And that has made it possible for us to operate 13 library locations, 1 administration building, and a bookmobile, all with just a renewal. We also have over 140 staff that we cover with that. So for a Jackson County homeowner with a median home value of $130,000, that amounts to about $113 a year in taxes, or about 31 cents a day. So if the millage doesn't pass, we will not be able to operate because it comprises about 85 to 90% of our operating income for the year. And without a renewal, we would have to make some cuts. So there would be longer hold lists for items. We would have some staffing changes, some open hours changes, and all of our building projects would need to be delayed. So, as I mentioned, property taxes consistently represent every year between 85 and 90% of our total annual income. And our other larger sources of revenue that you can see from the slide here, we have state aid, penal fines, we get grants and some donations, and that helps round out our revenue. Our budget this year is about $10.5 million.
Next slide, please. So we have 13 locations, an administrative building, and a bookmobile. And those are all run successfully with the current operating funds that we receive. And as Liz said, 90% from taxpayer money. We've had a recent update to a routed approach of our bookmobile, which has been really successful. And so that's helped us to reach others in the county who are underserved and potentially can't get to a branch. So people without transportation, now if you are all the way out in Springport and can't get to the branch, or maybe you're not within walking distance, we now have some locations that are a weekly approach to better serve all of our community. Next slide, please. So what's happened since 2016? We've mainly focused in 4 areas. You can see on the slide the enhanced services and increased access is the first one. We've done several things there. We've started automatic renewals. We have expanded library card eligibility. So now if you live, work, or go to school in Jackson, you are eligible for a library card. We have Wi-Fi on all the JATA buses. We also have Wi-Fi in parks, and we're expanding that. So there's been a lot of community interest as we make these presentations this year. We've found that our local communities and townships are very interested in having Wi-Fi in their parks as well. You may know that we have Wi-Fi access in Horace Blackman Park that we sponsor. We've just added to the Spring Arbor branch, there's a park right in back of it, and we now provide Wi-Fi access right there. We've had interest in Grass Lake, Parma, Springport. All of these communities have been like, yes, please give us some more access to Wi-Fi. And so we're starting to work with them to provide access in other areas as well. We also have home delivery. This is something that a lot of people don't know about, but is one of my favorite services. So if residents are homebound, we will actually mail their books to them, and they will get some personalized service with some reader's advisory as well to be able to get new books that they are interested in, and they can get a prepaid label just to drop that right back in the mailbox. And so with that, more people can access our services in library. We also have legal help. So that's something that we've started helping people to fill out forms. Now, we can't help them necessarily interpret the forms, but we can help them to fill them out. And we can also connect them with other Michigan legal help. We have received a grant to offer satellite locations for this in Concord and Brooklyn. So now, if you go on any side of the county to Concord, Brooklyn, or our Carnegie branch, you can get legal help right from our branch. And there's also like materials that we've provided to people to be able to offer this. So a quiet study area, a cubicle that's portable that we can set up for people, and also access to our specialized librarian that's trained to offer this kind of service. We also offer, we call it internally blue bins, but they're really book bins. And what we do is upon sign up, teachers across the county can receive a rotation to their classroom of 25 books per month. So we circulate about 25,000 books per year to Jackson County classrooms, which is something we're especially proud of. We've also been working on upgraded infrastructure. So we've expanded the Brooklyn branch. We have renovated the Eastern branch. We bought a new building in Spring Arbor to be able to expand service there. We replaced 155 windows in our Carnegie building. We bought a new Hanover building, and we are renovating the outside this year of both Henrietta and Springport branches, and we are looking forward to doing the interior in 2025 of both those branches. And what we're especially proud of is that we have put $5 million since 2020 into modernizing our library spaces without bringing on additional debt, and that has been really important to us as well. We have also expanded our collections. We circulate 280 hotspots, so this is providing internet access to people throughout the district who don't have any, and those check out for 3 weeks at a time. We've also started a library of things for our children, so those feature mostly STEM kits at this time, and next year we are going to launch an adult program. So you might be able to check tools out, or maybe a car diagnostic tool for your car if you don't have one. Not a chainsaw, but probably something like a hammer, or things that you might not have that might be in addition to whatever project you were doing. A sewing machine, for example, you could also be able to check that out starting next year, which is really fun. We also have a digital collection. I think we have a total of 1.5 million materials now, including digital collection, which is great. And we have the complete Citizen Patriot Archive on digital as well. In 2023, over 31,000 people attended one of our programs, and we're proud of what we can offer. So a couple of our flagship programs would be our summer reading program. Many of you might have remembered that from when you were small. But we also have the Young Poets Contest, which is annual. We have the Story Fest, which brings stories to all our families and school-aged children in November of every year, and many programs that are meeting mission across the branches. And we're also proud that we crossed the 1 million circulation point in August of this year, which is up 20,000 from last year. So next slide, please.
So we're seeing more people each year, which is very exciting to us, and seeing more engagement with our resources and services. So just a few stats we wanted to point out. Since 2013, we have seen a 74% increase in the use of the digital content that we make available. Since 2021, we have seen a 98% increase in the number of new card signups. And since 2022, we've seen a 49% increase in our community room use. We think that's really attributable to the branches that we've renovated, and we've included a meeting room in those branches. So Brooklyn never had a meeting room before. They now have a lovely meeting room. The same is true at Spring Arbor, and they are heavily used. Next slide, please. So we wanted to talk a little bit about how our millage funds would be used in the coming 8 years. And at the start of this year, we did a community survey. We heard from over 600 people. And their feedback is what is going to help shape our strategic plan for the coming 3 years. So on the slide, these are some of the themes that showed up in respondents' comments back to us. So they really would like to see us continue focusing on modernizing our spaces. So that includes work to continue improving access to make our buildings accessible, providing furniture, newer furniture, just improving the overall quality of the space to make it easier and more functional to use. We also received comments on wanting to hear more from the library. So they're looking for more communication from us about what's available, what services we offer, and things like that. Another thread that we saw that was very common was a request to evaluate our open hours and the times that we offer our programs. So we're going to be taking a look at that in the coming year to see if we need to make any adjustments to that. And then the last area that really stood out to us was focusing on and expanding our literacy efforts. So this is a really big thing for us at the library. It's something that, everything we do helps support some type of literacy. There is the, basic literacy where children need to know how to read, write, talk. And then from there, as that develops, there are other types of literacy, civic literacy, financial literacy, health literacy, those kinds of things. So we are very interested in, of course, continuing that work and hopefully expanding it to offer more to help our community. So we're working on developing our 2025 through 2027 strategic plan, and we will have that completed by the end of this year and available for the community at the start of next year. And stay tuned for more details on that. Next slide, please.
Okay, so there are many ways that you can support the Jackson District Library, sharing with people in your life and how the library has impacted you. Your library story is one of them. I remember my mom taking me to the library when all the way from the time I was very small till, I started walking there after school and getting stacks of books like this. And now I'm really proud that both of my children do the same thing. So there's no place that they would rather be. And I'm just loving that idea that they do that. Another idea is talking with your friends and neighbors, writing a letter to the editor in support of the library, or posting on social networks, even if you share the posts that we make. You can learn more about our operating millage you can learn more about our operating millage renewal by visiting myjdl.com/millage. And thank you for your time. we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions, anyone? Commissioner Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One thing that always interests me are the numbers behind the statistics. And I'm looking at the first one there, 74% increase in digital contact usage. You had to go back to 2013 to grab that 74%, which means to me it's about a 6% increase a year with compounding. So, you know, I'd be most interested in what your raw numbers are, because actually when I was at Blackman Township meeting and presentation was done, after the meeting, some people came to me and asked me, what's that mean? What are those numbers meaning? And I'm going, well, I'm not sure, because I don't know the numbers. Increase in community room usage, 49% from 2023. That's like, we went from 2 meetings a month to 3 meetings a month. So statistics are nice, but the numbers behind that mean a lot more.
I could provide a little insight with an example into the meeting room usage. Our Brooklyn branch, it didn't have a community room before we expanded our space there. And now it fills up at the beginning of each month. It's already 74% filled. And we're open, I think, 47 hours a week in Brooklyn. And so if you look at that, there's people most hours of the day trying to use that space. So we provide those spaces and people use them for studying. They use them for club and group meetings, not just book clubs. We've seen the local OSHA chapter use the Meyer meeting space. So we have people from all over using those kinds of spaces, but not just like from 2 to 3, but we've also increased the number available. So at Meyer Branch, we have 3 study rooms, a community room, and a digital studio, and all of those are available as well. So we've also created little spaces that people can use to just have some quiet areas in several of our branches. Spring Arbor is one of them, in Brooklyn too, and now East also has a little quiet study area that wasn't there before. So it's not just the increase that way, but the increase in the availability and location too. I hope that helps you.
My last question, Mr. Chairman, if I may. So the millage is 1.7411, and what do you expect that to generate?
Should be around $10.7 million in the first year. I think that's what we calculated. The ballot language says 10.75.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My line of question was very similar, so I'll just kind of sum it down to just one question. On the new card signups, you said you have it since 2021, 98% increase. Do you know the total number of cards that you have out currently?
I think it's, excuse me, it's around 41,000 right now.
Good. And then my last question, again, some of it was already answered, but you gave, at the very beginning of your presentation, you gave the estimated cost per household. Could you give me those numbers again?
Sure. So we calculated that off the median home value for the county. So around $130,000 is the median home value.
Mm-hmm.
So for that taxpayer, it would be about $113 a year, or about 31 cents a day.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further. Thank you.
Further questions? I wanted to thank you for coming, 1, but 2, your reference librarian at the Carnegie branch has always been very helpful to me in finding obscure Michigan literature. I want to thank you for that. He helped me find an archaeology book that was published in 1924 only by the University of Michigan. So So yeah, and he found it in PDF so that I can have access it at my convenience versus trying to move the volume here when I'm looking for it. Number one. Number two, during the end of lifetime of my father, your ability to check books out digitally and online kept him in his 6 to 8 books a week without any problem at all. I know he was one of your users of that system and always spoke very highly of the district library and its system, and I appreciate it very, very much. And appreciate your staff all the way around. My only comment, as you consider new branches and meeting rooms, is that you consider an external exit to those meeting rooms separate from the library branch. And the reason for that is if a meeting runs late, sometimes it would be nice to be able to just walk out another door instead of keeping a librarian or someone there waiting for a meeting to end. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We appreciate it, and thank you for those stories. Those are great.
Anything else? Administrator Overton, do you have anything? Okay,
Thanks for your time.
yep. With the arrival of the Drain Commissioner, we've arrived at the Drain Commissioner Annual Report. Jeff, would you care to join us? Thank you, sir.
I believe you've all received a copy of the annual report. If there are any questions, I'll share a couple thoughts then. 2023 was a very wet year. Page 10 of the annual report indicates that we had 42 developments that my office reviewed in light of the stormwater permit that the county has. Page 11, we had addressed 248 service requests. Page 23, the Upper Grand River stormwater permit requirements resulted in, since its inception, 3,490 tons of cumulative pollutants not reaching the river, Grand River. Page 35, bond payments. Both Grass Lake bonds and Vineyard Lake sanitary sewer bonds were paid off. Rives Junction actually was paid off this year. Since 1990, this office has designed, financed, constructed a total of $41,288,513 different water distribution, treatment facilities, sewage collection, treatment facilities. Southern Interceptor is going to be paid off July of 25. Parma, still have a few years left, but April of 2030. Those are the highlights. Any questions?
Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Snyder, page 43, you discuss the changes in the government accounting standards boards. Do I understand this right, that now Jackson County is going to have to report on all of the capital assets, including bridges, roads, dams? That is now going to be part of the county financial reports?
They are, yes.
Okay. No, I guess I'll ask the commissioner or the administrator a question later then. Thank you.
Other questions?
Any further questions? I have a general question, if I could. When a waterway similar to Browns Lake or what used to be called Fenton Lake, I'm not quite sure what the name of it is now, within 340 Farms, becomes naturally restricted by rodents, AKA a beaver moves in, when does the drain commissioner get involved in animal control, or does it become more a private property owner's issue, or is it, because it's lake level at the end of the day, that all the residents on the lake are concerned about?
Well, the drain commissioner will become involved merely because a constituent picked up the phone and involved him. He doesn't have jurisdiction over, in this case, the watercourse that flows between Bibbins Road and South Jackson Road. No easements exist. It was never established as a part of the county drain. That may be the ultimate remedy, but that's not a short proceeding. Property owners own the property either side of that channel, and if those particular properties are flooded, they certainly have the right to get a trapper involved, remove the beaver, because if you just tear down the dam, beaver's going to rebuild it overnight. So you trap the beavers, remove them, remove the dam. That could be done privately. Much quicker, much cheaper than involving it, having it evolve into a public works project. But short term, the people around Fenton Lake, or Lake Tampere as it's now called, may not like the time that it takes a private property owner to resolve the issue. They may want a more permanent solution, and they certainly could petition my office to take that channel over as a county drain. One of the property owners has made that initial contact. I've requested that he speak with at least 5 of his neighbors before he involves our office with a petition public hearing process. Without 5 qualified signatures, my office would not be able to proceed. He's undertaking that chore.
I know that this type of infestation has happened in other water courses throughout Jackson, and I just wanted to be able to answer questions from a general knowledge perspective. I thank you for your answer, and thank you for the work your office has been doing for the last year, sir.
Welcome. The beaver population is increasing thanks to clean water. I guess it's a benefit as well as a curse, but it's nice to have them around. They are a problem sometimes. Any other questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. This will appear on Tuesday night's meeting, and we'll let you know if there's any further questions. We'll contact your office.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Falling Water Trails Sculptures, Parks Director Kyle Lewis.
Good morning. Here to talk about the addition of 8 new sculptures to the Falling Waters Trail. Believe it or not, this will be our 4th year participating in this program that was brought forth to us by Dr. Lavery and the Lavery Family Foundation just a few years ago. So we put in, as you know, 8 temporary sculptures last year around this time. Those are proposed to be removed. They were planned to be there for 1 year, and they'd be replaced by these new 8 sculptures. So same process kind of as the last few years. I think they've been a great addition to the trail. We get a lot of nice comments out there. They're all kind of unique and different, and people are really enjoying them out there. I did have this approved by the park board earlier last month. And I do appreciate the opportunity to bring this for action here, which I know is not typical at study session, but we've kind of done this the last couple of years because of the timing, and these are anticipated and proposed to be installed It'll be prior to the Tuesday meeting in October. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for this presentation, Kyle, and the review of the pictures. And as always, go ahead.
You need this approved today, right?
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to adopt the staff recommendation.
We have a motion and support. Comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried.
Great, thank you.
Information technology, IT on-base software upgrade. Our IT director, please lead the conversation, sir.
Good morning. First, I'd like to apologize. I neglected to actually include the original statement of work in with the board item. If we move forward with it to the general committee, I'll make sure that's included for that process. So the on-base environment, as we spoke about last month during our support renewal, is a document management and workflow service that is utilized throughout many of the departments in our organization. Everything from HR to the clerk's office to friend of the court to any of the document retention purposes that we need to serve are filled by this product. It was last upgraded in 2021, and the version that we are currently running on is at its end of support from the manufacturer. So as a result, if we do not move forward with a new version, there will be a significant increase in cost to support it moving forward. In order to avoid that, we are planning an upgrade by using, by using ARPA funding. We're hoping to bring in i3 Verticals, which is the partner that we work with in order to, they both act as the reseller of the product, and they have also provided over years customization work, additional programmatic pieces of support for the system. And by bringing them in, we can get our existing staff trained on how to do this type of upgrade in the future, so it would not come at a cost to us to keep maintenance with this going forward for these kind of upgrades, as well as making sure that they minimize the downtime to our staff for this first time around. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is actually for administration. For the ARPA Category A dollars, those need to be spent by December of this year, is that correct?
Could you repeat the question?
The ARPA dollars for Category A, those need to be spent by December of this year, is that correct? Or do I have the date wrong?
No, they have to be obligated.
Obligated, okay.
Yeah. So we have until the end of 26, I believe it is, to spend them.
Oh, wow, way off. Okay, thank you. Nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Chairman. The existing on-base software, it had to be upgraded yearly, or maintenance on it, at a cost of about $10,000 annually. So will the i3 Verticals need annual maintenance and upgrades as well?
So the actual maintenance cost of the software, which supports bug fixes, any additional updates and releases to the software, support calls from us out to the company, that actually is significantly higher. We're currently, I believe, paying around $75,000 a year in maintenance of the on-base system. That increase that's mentioned is the additional amount that we would have to pay if we wanted to stay on this existing version. So this i3 expense that is in the scope of work, which again, I apologize for not having it in front of you, is a one-time cost to actually just perform the professional services to apply the upgrade and provide the training on how to do that in the future to our staff.
So did I understand you correctly? With our on-base, we're paying $10,000 annually for upgrades and maintenance.
No, about 75,000.
They what?
75,000 is the actual total upgrade, or not upgrade, the total annual maintenance. Just in any normal year, we have about that much budgeted for on base, just for continuing maintenance and support. This is to perform an upgrade of the installed software that is on our systems and on our servers right now, which is a one-time cost.
Okay. Then I'm confused in what I'm reading here, because it says, based on prior invoicing, we expect this additional cost to exceed $10,000 annually.
The additional refers to that 25, in the sentence prior, it states that EP3, which is the version of the software we are on right now, is end of the manufacturer life cycle. They are not officially supporting that moving forward. And to encourage customers to move off of it and get to the current version of the software, they are going to increase costs if you maintain that version. So instead of us paying our $75,000, that will actually be closer to $85,000 next year if we do not move to the newer version.
Okay, so we're buying a system at a cost of $18,144,
No,
and it's costing us $80,000 a year to maintain it.
we have already bought the system. We are not buying a new system. When I'm saying an upgrade, this is like going from version 2 of a program to version 3. We have the right to move to that new version, but because of the complexity of the software and the number of departments it impacts, none of the existing staff in the IT department have been present when an upgrade was performed in the past. So on site with our existing staff, we do not have the knowledge to do that effectively. We could do it, but you would be looking at significant downtimes. You would be looking at, certain customized pieces of code that could potentially break in the meantime and then have to be repaired. So bringing these people in and what the actual ask is for here of the $18,144 is for professional services for a one-time cost to perform that upgrade and do a knowledge transfer to our staff so we can do that going forward.
Okay, so this buys us an upgrade, and we should plan in our budget, future budgets, $80,000 a year for maintenance.
We already have that in our budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Commissioner Willis?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my understanding of it is it's kind of like Adobe Flash. Right now, the support that you have will no longer continue if you don't renew what you have now for the program.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions? Do we need action today? No, this is going through the normal committee process. See you Monday.
Thank you very much.
We've arrived at the second opportunity for public comment. Each individual will state their name and have 2 minutes to give public comment. You can address the board only once, and we will not answer questions. Any public comment? Seeing none, we do not have a closed session. Commissioner comments? Seeing none. Commissioner Bear?
So our IT request here, is this then going to committee and then to the full board?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments? Seeing nor hearing